Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Final Fantasy Wave X's video, and we'll be talking about Locke, the CG version. We finally get the CG. We'll also be talking about Galuf, and then the rest later. That will be Palom and Porom, and Sabin's crowns, and also Balthier's crowns. So let's look at Locke first. And you might notice that his TMR is missing, and you'll be noticing that the other Galuf's TMR is missing as well, because they're not even worth mentioning. They're really not even worth mentioning, so that's why I'm not mentioning them. So his STMR is one-handed dagger, not a throwing weapon, but a dagger. I wonder if they might have updated the Locke's other STMR as because it's the throwing weapon. Maybe they'll do something with that. But 241 attack. The 20% evasion is not stackable, so okay. I mean, it's not really that good. And a 750 fly attack for him instead of 500 because he's a premium unit, so he's getting a little bit more attack. I'm assuming is the reasoning for that. It's 150% fire amp, but you need a lot. There's a plus and minus with this. There's not much of a plus, but if you are, since he's SLB, you really want to be going to EX2 at least, or even EX3. So it being locked to EX2 is not as bad as lightning, I guess, because you really want to go to EX2 at least. 400 times mod ability chaining for MOE and SR chaining. That's pretty high for chaining because usually they're a lot lower. 8 times cap, very good. 120 times mod buff for the LB SLB. 650 times just like lightning. So he's very powerful. 45% dagger and throwing weapon in peril. You know, it's still 40% on the regular LB as well, so that's actually still pretty good. And then 750% and 200% for gathered allies, and 500% and 200% for fire units. So he doesn't outright power creep rain for the leader skill at least. The gathered allies does not seem that great though. I looked through the category. I might be missing some units because I didn't pull every single unit since the started everything, you know, all the beginnings. I might have skipped a few, but generally I've had most of the units that are recent, and it's not a very good category currently. There's not a lot of people on it that are good. So we'll just see how that turns out. But I don't think I don't know if it's that good. I think the meta probably just be the same as lightning, where you just use 2 locks, I guess, for most content, other than dark visions, of course, because then you can't use 2 of them. So here's kind of a bummer. 24 hits instead of 27, so you can chain with rain. That's probably one of the only options you have, is chaining with rain. There's a lot of other changes, especially Mistburn, their most recent fire unit, is also 27 hits. So, like on global, even having less partners, even on JP he has almost no partners. Like Rain is probably the only partner he has for fire. So, Wall, I guess, because he's not an elemental, but he's light mostly with the amp. So he'd be a lot weaker, but you could still chain with a Squall, I suppose. And like I just mentioned, gathered allies just doesn't seem really that great to me. So let's go ahead and reveal the score for him. 8.5 out of 10, pretty good. Pretty good damage dealer, 650 times, 8 times cap. A lot of attack. So, should be pretty good in that regard. I think he should be pretty strong as a damage dealer. But that's really all he's bringing to the table, because his leader skill is just okay. So, let's move on to the Galuf. The Galuf was a bit of a surprise. I thought he was just going to be a filler band unit with nothing too special with him, but actually he's quite interesting. So he has 1,000 flat attack on his katana. Pretty decent. Infinite turns, another surprise. And here's the biggest thing that he probably has. You might be noticing there's not a lot to talk about with him, but non-elemental base LB, which is good. He has a few imbues. And 89% defense spirit break on his base LB. He also has a one-use ability that has it's basically the same as his base LB, and just having access basically permanent access to 89% defensive spirit break, just because it's on a base LB, so you can constantly just charge his LB over and over again to constantly get that 89% defensive spirit break. He also has 150% fire, wind, and earth imperil, so that's also very good. And his brave shift form, he has 150% fire amp, and that's where you're going to be doing your DPS. But other than those things, there isn't much else to say, but having access to permanent 89% defensive spirit pick is very nice. Because most times it's only on an SLB or one use, but this is a regular base LB which you can charge over and over again, so very nice. The only, I would say, one of the only cons, I forgot to put this in here, and the weaknesses, but it's only 89% defensive spirit break. There's no attack or magic break on his base LB, so that's also a thing to worry about a little bit. But his effect, his shield effect, I'm not sure why, because they've done this many field effects on cooldowns, but his field effect is only one use, the grandest, and it's instead of a cooldown, and it's only for 5 turns instead of 10. Where most field effects are for 10 turns. They've been 10 turns recently. So fire, earth, wind, and peril field, 40%. That's pretty decent. And then only 70 times mod boost, so he's obviously not meant to be a huge DPS, just kind of a side DPS. 420, which is the funny number in the base, and 550 times in the brave shift form, which is, it's not too bad with 1,000 flat attack and more attack to be gained. In his passives, I'm sure he'll at least be decent, but not amazing in terms of DPS. So 8.5 for him as well, because the 89% defense spirit break will be very nice to have, and also those imperils. But I don't like that the field effect, the field is only for 5 turns. So most DPS get along on turn 3 to 4, and on turn 5 you're kind of recharging. Or maybe you're able to do more DPS, but after that, that's over with. So you'd have to use it on the turn that you want to DPS, so that it lasts for a few more turns. So, that being said, let's move on to the wiki portion of our review here. Because we have Palom and Porom here, the Neo Vision Awakening, and they get 1,000 flat magic for on their STMR, which is pretty nice. Sadly, they're their SLB. And while this is actually pretty impressive to have 150 times on mod boost for the LB, you'll be sadly annoyed at what their LB is. So also get a store buff, but then that's about it. There really isn't much else to say. None of this is really that interesting. They tweaked a few things here and there, but nothing really worth mentioning. They do have 100% chain cap. They can be built as TDH or true to wield, but probably TDH because they do not have the 8 times cap. And this is not awakened, so this is pretty useless. This is not awakened. This is also useless. So no meteor stuff here, unfortunately. And then they drop the hammer with this. So the modifier is already pretty low. Yes, it's a tag chain, but it's triple elements, which is never going to be that useful. It's not good. So they're just not a good Neo Vision Awakening, sadly. There's not much to say about them. I feel like they've been dropping the ball recently with Neo Vision Awakenings and crown events, which we'll be talking about here soon. So yeah, not very good. Anyways, let's move on to Sabin, who's also been they've dropped the ball on for sure. And his one crown is just getting 55 times mod boost for his SLB, which is very low. And his other awakening is just 2,000 flat attack, which is decent, but like, that's it? So he's only 455 times with Tidus STMR. That's it. Yeah, he's one of the first units to get 550% amp, but not even getting 500 times mod boot, or 500 times on the SLB at least. Wow, they really didn't like Sabin for some reason. Why? Why so low? Usually at least it's 70 times, 60 times. Even that wouldn't make much of a difference, but at least if it was 100 times, that would be a lot better than 55. So just not good. I don't really understand why they made him so bad, but at least he can fire chain with other characters, I guess. That's about it. And I don't really know how to use Balthier. I've never really used him, so take my review here with a grain of salt. You can review for yourself if you like, but this seems kind of bad. Chain, like, just, he doesn't have 8 times cap, so this doesn't really mean anything. He does get 1,500 flat attack, which is decent, but is that it? He doesn't get anything. He does not have 150% amp. He only has 50%, and 160 times mod for his LB, or we'll just put physical side with those differences there. So with Fran, apparently he gets up to pretty huge modifier, I guess. I'm just not impressed really, because you have to bring Fran along, so I'm not really that impressed. Just not really that interesting to me, but let me know in the comment section down below if this is worth it now. More attack, and 160 times mod boost for certain LBs, which is basically his Brave Shift form LB. But that's it. So it feels like they're being very lazy with crowns now. Some of them are decent, some of them are a huge miss. Like Sabin, 55 times mod boost. Yeah, he has 150% amp, but it's not going to even be close to competing with Rain, for example, or anyone else who's a lot stronger. So really, you'd only bring him for like Dark Visions if you need a fire DPS. Not to chain with Rain or someone else. That's about it. So that's going to be it for the review, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. Locke is pretty good, and I actually got him from the daily. First daily of the banner, I got him. So that was pretty good. I love that. I should have streamed it, or put it on a video recording, but I did get him. I did post it in my Discord that I got him, so at least that's there. So make sure to join the Discord if you want to see some salt or some pulls or whatever you want to see. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. Appreciate you as always. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed. Make sure to click the join button if you want to find out how to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.